Hey, well, we are going to start. So it is a little after four Pacific. I'm actually out here in back home in Santa Rosa, California. Some of you may know that. I'm Eric McHenry, your national president. My wife Laverne is still in Dallas, Texas, with our Airstream doing something. She may or may not be on this call. I suspect she's out having fun with your fellow members as we often do. I have a couple of special guests tonight. I'll just introduce a couple of people, then we'll kind of go into the general topic. First of all, most of you know Lori Tilton. You may not know her by that last name, though, and she can talk about that. Lori is our executive director, and I'll hand over to her last. We also, in the background, have Christy Yon. Christy is our marketing and communications manager. She's one of our handful of staff in Jackson Center. Christy will be helping look through all the Q&As and help to answer some of those real time and just tell us if we're doing something weird. So thanks, Christy, for spending your evening with us.
You're welcome.
Our two special guests are Florence Tremoni. Florence Tremoni is our current Region 10 president. If you haven't met her, hope you guys get a chance to. Florence is going to talk a little bit about this upcoming constitutional vote that's critical for our club. We have to get a certain number of voters, 20% of our members to vote in order to make it happen or not. So Florence is going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later on. And also we've got Ray Combs. Ray Combs is our international caravan chair. And one of the hot topics in our clubs for a lot of our members, of course, is caravans. And Ray's going to talk a little bit about sort of what they are, how to get on them. And like a lot of these Q&As, they are Q&As. We really want you all to ask questions. As I've told pretty much every time I do a talk, there is no question off limits. If you have a question, ask it. We will try our best to answer it unless it's confidential. In that case, we probably cannot. If we do not know the answer, we will get back to you. We actually have a record in our sort of our Zoom world of what questions have been asked, and we'll try our best to get back to you after the fact if we can't answer live. But seriously, this is for y'all to ask questions and as in addition to just learning. Okay, Lori, just give a little bit about you, and then we'll jump into our agenda.
Well, thanks, Eric. Hi, I'm your executive director, and I've been here with the club since 2014. It's been a great ride and love the experience and just meeting all of our members here. So I don't know if this is good time, but a lot of things are going on in Jackson Center. We have a lot of activity, so we always encourage anybody when you're in Jackson Center to please stop by and stop in, see us, so you can see what the headquarters looks like.
So, Lloyd, I often hear people say, well, I didn't know our headquarters was in Jackson Center. Is it at the factory? Maybe you can share sort of how to find us and when they can come by.
So no, we're not the factory. For those who do not know, we are a separate company than the Airstream company. We are not in the factory. So we're separate entities, but we do sandwich Jackson Center. So the factory's on one end of town and we're basically on the other end of town. So if you're ever at the factory, you need to go east about 2 miles, 2.5 miles, and we're going to be there on the south side of the road.
And so as long as you're on the Jackson Center gig, and maybe also share what other things. Y'all probably know this when you're there, but there's a historical center. Lori, talk a little bit what to do there in Jackson Center, which club members may not be aware they have access to.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. So especially for Airstream, of course, they have a fabulous factory tour. Plus, they have now the Heritage Museum. They have a Starbucks. We have a Starbucks in Jackson Center, which is fabulous. We actually have a subway that just reopened. So for the little town in the middle of nowhere, but we have a lot of neat things around Jackson Center. We have a big lake right next to us called Indian Lake. We always have Ohio Caverns for those who like to hike and do those type of things. We have a bicycle museum. So there are all kinds of little things, and of course some great restaurants, little microbreweries, a couple wineries right in and around Jackson Center. So if you need to spend some time during the day just sightseeing, as well as the Armstrong Museum, things of that nature. So that is all close to Jackson Center if you're coming in to get some service done, and you need to just beat the path and spend some time. We always encourage our members, if you're in for service and you need a place just kind of, it's a little quieter than the service center, again, you're welcome down at HQ. We have great Wi-Fi, table that you can work at, things of that nature.
Thank you, Lori. Okay,
Yeah.
let me share the agenda for today. So I'm assuming y'all can see this. Now, this is not a presentation per se. This is just a template of sort of to help guide through what we're going to talk about in the next hour. And we will end on the hour, but we typically hang around a little bit longer just for Q&A. This is repeated at 7 o'clock Pacific, so about 3 hours from now as well. So I'm going to give a little update from our 2024 IBT strategy session. Lori's going to talk about sort of what's happening with our membership, how things are going. There's some cool new discounts and benefits, which I always, as I travel around, I'm just amazed that a lot of our members do not know they exist. We've got some great benefits in the last 2 years. Thanks, Lori and the team for that. Um, I think I'm going to give an update on sort of what's happening from infrastructure in Jackson Center with our headquarters building, this new thing we're looking at doing called a historical center in RV Park. And then Florence is going to talk about the constitutional vote that's starting in June 2024, so a few months from now. And then Ray will talk about caravans. And if we have time, I might just talk a little bit about this new little mini caravan happening starting in I don't know, a few weeks actually, to celebrate the history of the around the world caravan. And again, we'll start looking at the Q&As and start to answer them. So first of all, one of the things I have to say that I'm sort of the most proud about, sort of in my time in the club recently, is that we've really spent some time to focus on our strategic priorities. And that may sound like an obvious thing, but we had not in the past spent a lot of group time working on this. Historically, in our club's history, we had a strategy plan, but it was done by a small subcommittee. It was presented to the IBT once, and like a lot of strategy plans and organizations, it just stayed in a drawer and no one looked at it again. We've completely changed this. So this is a picture here from a few months back. We brought the full IBT, International Board of Trustees, and so it's the region presidents and plus the executive council, our parliamentarian, our treasurer, and we had a moderator also, or facilitator for the meeting as well. We spent 3 long days at this table. We're really fortunate to have really submitted our relationship with Airstream Inc. This is in their new factory, and they're able to give us a room for those 3 days, just like last year. So someone asked me, they said, look, the strategies didn't change a lot from last year. Well, no, they don't. I mean, typically, if an organization has strategic priorities, they don't change a lot year to year. You can refine them and extend them. So this year, we ended up with sort of the same focus. We made a lot of good progress on our internal communications. These are things like the Blue Beret, the Blue Beret Bulletin, our website, our blog, and just information. I think Laura's going to share some of it that we give out to new members and we give out to potential members as well. We're trying to do a better job continuing with external communications, and that's with people outside of our member base. And so with our partners, for example, and as you'll see in the member discounts and benefits discussion, we've really brought on a bunch of new partners and vendors. And we need to be able to communicate with them effectively on sort of what is our club about, what value does being in our club give to our members, and how do they access that? And it's been a real eye-opening thing. I think all of you probably that are listening to this have been on the side of the road or in a campground and someone say, "Oh, you're in the Airstream Club. What does that mean?" So we're trying to give you all some tools and work with the press to talk more about our club, to continue our growth and continue sort of the relevancy in the industry. The third one is critical, right? Because we're 60 some odd years old and we want to be another 60 some odd years old, so 120, 200 years old later. But we have to welcome and retain our members. And that is something that we've had a 2-year focus on how do we better welcome and retain. And in a nutshell, I think we all see this too. If a member joins our club and they have questions about what we do in our club, the best way by far is to have them come to one of our rallies. And I think it's almost without exception that when a new member comes to a rally, be it a local club rally or a region rally or a national event rally or an international rally, they start to see sort of where the value is and start to get involved. Infrastructure is something that we're carrying on this year as well. We're taking a look at our fixed assets and our fixed infrastructure, which is software, it's hardware, it's buildings, it's maintenance plans, things like that. We're trying to make sure that we have funding in place and a plan in place to replace those. An analogy I give there is that, if you're an owner of a building, you really got to make sure that you put away some money every year to make sure that when that roof is due to get replaced 20 years from now, you've got enough money put away to put that roof up. Although nowadays we're seeing a lot of dollars spent on software infrastructure or software as a service. And so we have to really make sure that we manage our software licenses because we are beholden upon Microsoft and others, and those costs keep going up. We have to make sure that we can plan for that infrastructure and figure out when a new website is being needed. How do we fund that? When a new app, which we're looking at, by the way, finally, how do we fund an app? For our members to use? How do we roll that out? Who does it? How do we maintain it? Training at all levels is a huge deal. Again, I think a lot of you on the call right now, you're kind of like myself and Laverne were when we were young in the club. Someone said, hey, do y'all want to volunteer to be this or that? And although our club members usually say yes, they also like, well, okay, but what does that mean? What do I do? And so we have not generally in the past provided good training about what these local club responsibilities and jobs are and support for those. So we're really focusing on supporting that to make it easier for all of you who choose to help on the business side as well as the fund side. The big push this year, though, and this kind of ties into what Florence is going to talk about, is financial stability and literacy. We as a board, because now we meet 4 times a year, review our quarterly results, we have to understand what a P&L versus actual P&L versus budget, that's profit and loss, cash flow balance sheets are to make sure that we can really manage our club's financial assets. We have to put in place some policies around our reserves. And in fact, on this upcoming IBT meeting on the 23rd of May, our interim treasurer, Alan Rabb, and his team are presenting a policy on our financial reserves. Long time coming, by the way. So we're really pushing hard to make sure that we're at a solid financial background so that we can accomplish the things we have to do for our club members. Let me just see if there's any Q&A. Are there any on this one? I don't think so. Okay, courtesy parking. Laura, you want to tackle that in discounts and benefits? Let me hand it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. I saw that about the update with Harvest Host. So while that question is up there, yes, we are working behind the scenes with Harvest Host in our new partnership with the courtesy partnership that we're extremely excited about. So look for some testing. We'll probably start with some of our members mid-June is the last I saw, and then we're going to be going live by the fall. So it's super exciting for everybody to make that happen. On this slide,
wait, let me add something about courtesy parking, by the way. So I gave a talk at the Region 9 rally, and courtesy parking came up. And one question essentially was, why is it taking so long to roll out? And the answer is because we want to do it right. And so I just want you all to know this, in the era of internet privacy, which is a real deal right now, it's extremely important for us that the data that we share with our partner, in this case, Harvest Host, preserves the identity, security of our members. And so, for example, all of you who are current members, we don't actually share your email and your contact information with Harvest Host. Actually, what we do is that we allow you to sign up for it. And when a member leaves the club, there's a tool that we're rolling out and developing that synchronizes the two databases. So it automatically deletes the person on the Harvest Host side so they cannot see our courtesy parking data, because that's data about our members' homes. So it's a lot of work. We're doing it in what's called hash tables if you're technical IT, but it's done in a way that preserves the security and identity of our members when we share with external partners. So we're trying to get all this stuff rolled out really nicely, very cleanly, being very careful about it. So that's why it's going slower. Okay, Lori, back to you.
All right, thanks, Eric. So the discount and benefits slide you're seeing, actually, Christy gets the big kudos for she's been doing a lot of work on making in these contacts and these connections with us. So we're super excited about the list, and it's continually growing. So if you want to look there, Vintage Cam Trailer Magazine, look for them coming down the road. Also, you can look Card Generator. They're actually running a special for our members right now that if you buy before May 31st, you'll receive a 5-year premium extended warranty included at no cost, plus the club discount that they offer. Plus, keep your
Share a
eyes
little
out.
bit more what card generator is, because that term may not be familiar to people who haven't been to an IR or to one of our webinars.
Do what?
Can you just share a little bit what card generator is? Because it's a funny term, right?
I'm not that familiar with the product, so that would be
It's
Christy.
it's basically a tool that helps us boondock, right? So solar's great, lithium's great, but this is a way to not to have a gas powered generator. And it's really important because, as you know, a lot of our members now are interested in doing stuff off the grid. And so card generator is a product that some of you may have seen at our international rally, but and on a webinar. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I think I got it out of my mouth, wasn't sure, but keep your eyes out. We got another special promotion coming from Goodyear before the end of the month. So again, I know emails can be annoying. We all get thousands of them all the time, but that is how we try to get this information out to you. So between our emails, the blogs, things of that nature. So if you want to keep that out, we will make sure you get that information. Next, if we want to jump into the membership slide. So membership is amazing. We are still on a growth pattern, although it looks like right this second we're not, but this is very normal, right? We're into May, and if you can look, we're less than 100 memberships away from cresting last year's number. So the way that we've been going this year, we are more than likely, I'm confident we're going to hit about that 10,000 mark by the time the year is out. So that is exciting to us. Also, for those that I'm sure a lot of you know about, our Explorer program that we're working with Airstream Inc. that launched last July. And so we've got about 600 members that have joined through the Explorer program. So that is gaining steam as we work with every single Airstream dealer across the country, make sure they understand what's happening and what is going on. So our goal when an Explorer program member comes in, Barb Darian and her team is working with the members to make them aware of everything that's going on around them. And our goal is to get these folks to an event. And actually, we got an email today in regards to tonight asking about why we're doing it this way. And our goal again, we said, is to get them to an event. And this event did the exact thing we wanted. They came in, they met their people. And so before that rally was over, they're transferred into a local club. And so they found their people. And that is what we talk about when we talk about wanting to work on retention and things of that nature with our members. So that was super exciting. So we also launched recently, and if we have time, I'll go back. We updated our homepage on our website. That just happened. So we're kind of excited about that. That's a little bit overdue. So if we have time, maybe we'll swing back around and take a look at that. So as you can see, thanks on the joins, as I was talking about the explorers, you can see what's been going on the last 6 years. And the green is this year. So if you can see our volume changing again, and it's just super exciting. And I believe everything we've been doing over the last couple of years, rebuilding the website, rebranding, trying to get our name out during different avenues is starting to really pay off, and it shows. So again, Barb and her team will be working with the clubs, and we're here to support our clubs to help bring these new members in and make sure they feel welcome. Back over to you, Eric.
The other thing I will add on this one is that, like any good organization, we do exit surveys. So when members do choose to leave the club, we ask them to fill out a survey about, hey, what did you like? Why did you leave? And we share that information with our International Board of Trustees because it's really important for us to understand some of the opportunities we may be missing or some of the things that may have happened. Often these things come from either one or two people say something, so it doesn't necessarily indicate a trend. But this is sort of the internal growth that we do in terms of continuous process improvement if you're in the business side to try to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our new members. A lot of it's I didn't get information, I never got to a rally, blah, blah, blah. So we're really trying hard on this welcoming and retaining members, looking at the data about why people do leave. And Lori, not to put you on the spot, but what's probably the number one thing you guys see why people leave our club?
The number one is they sold their Airstream. It's probably number one, they sold it and or they're not using it. They may still be in that mode of, between partially retired or not fully. So but those folks, they say, oh, we're going to sign back up when we can use the Airstream more. So that's very exciting. And Eric, I see a couple questions. Somebody's asking about the RV Life Pro on the benefits slide. You can go to our website, and under the member discounts and benefits, every single one of these partners we have, there's more detail about what it covers, the percentage. Some of them are codes, so that's why it has to be in the logged in area of that. And then someone's asking for clarification between membership. So a membership within our club is 2 adults. That's it. I mean, 2 people can be on that membership or 1, it doesn't matter. So that 9,400 that you see right now equates to a little over 17,000. About 16% of our memberships are singles. The rest are partnered. So those you there, I think I answered all those related to membership right now.
Great, thank you. Christy, would you mind putting in the chat box the direct URL to the benefits location, please? Thanks.
I sure will.
All right, so I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on this, not much, just a very little bit, because some of you all have heard about us looking at doing a RV park in Jackson Center. And by the way, this is an idea that has been floating around since, well before I joined the club. We've made some progress last year at our IBT meeting in Jackson Center, our strategy meeting a couple of months ago. We've gotten closer, and there will be an action item on the board agenda on the 23rd to talk about this. So really, again, I'm not going to go into this too much detail because there's a lot of information. Essentially, there's 3 things happening. One is that our headquarters, if you've ever been in our headquarters building, it's very crowded. I'm trying to pick my words carefully.
It's a mess. You can say it. It's a mess. We got 10 pounds of potatoes in about a 6-pound bag. That's, I think, the simplest way to describe it, right?
Yeah. And the facility was donated by a member, by the way. A member donated around 12 acres or so to the club back in the 60s or so, or 70s.
Yeah, late
Yeah.
70s, early 80s.
And so
Yeah.
the building was built and it needed to be redone. So anyway, we acquired a building about 6 months ago, and headquarters office, the 5-ish people, 6 people that work in headquarters are going to be moving over there. It's kind of right across the little driveway. It's the red square in my graphic there. And I think the plan is to move over there toward the fall, actually. And the cool thing about it, and I just have to say this, I'm just so happy. The cost to build, construction costs are still very high everywhere for a whole bunch of reasons. Labor, there's a low job vacancy, so parts. But we are volunteers. We have a lot of people with some very interesting skill sets, and a number of volunteers, a lot of them in Region 4, agreed to come down there with hammers and saws and electrical stuff and complete sort of the reconfiguration inside. So it's really pretty exciting. You hear more about it later. You'll see some pictures later. So that brought up the question of what do we do with the current building and what's next steps? And so what we decided to do is that we really want to make it into a historical center, not to compete with the Heritage Center that Airstream Inc. has that has all the trailers in it. But we have a lot of really interesting historical information about our club that we just lose. We're not able to display. And it's of a lot of interest to people. And so we want to have a place to archive and display the historical items. We want to have a member clubhouse and a work area lounge, a little bit more than we have there today. We want to provide sort of 5 to 10 overnight parking spots with full hookups, probably, 30 or 50 amp hookups with sewer and water. We got to do some minor repairs to the roof to make it suitable for a historical center. It probably won't be suitable for long-term occupying, but it'll be good enough for historical center without damaging our assets. we're going to administer the courtesy parkings through our courtesy parking app, which is kind of cool. And the funding for that will come through a capital campaign. There will not be any use of your annual membership dues. We're pretty excited about that. We've got strong support from the Vintage Airstream Club, from our historical standing committee, and it's getting really exciting. So I'm quite happy about that. Later, though, we still want to consider and leave room in the plans for a larger RV park. And if you see that green rectangle to the right there, there's about 8 acres or 7 acres back there of basically farmland, and there's a lot of room to grow back there. Our feasibility study was very positive. It will take some money, but we want to just kind of go slow. Jenny Snetler, who's helping lead our project, our executive council, her expression was, when Wally Byam started making trailers, he started with a Caravel, not a classic. So we want to start small, figure out the usage, and then later we'll look to go into a larger RV park. I just threw this up there because this is a picture of what our headquarters looks like. So if you're down in Jackson Center, this little modest brown building there is our current headquarters. And sort of in the back, there's a little bit of parking. On the sides, there's parking, et cetera. So again, pretty basic, preserve the historical building, build out historical display and archive areas, clubhouse, and RV parking. All right, now we're going to just breathe and we're going to just switch gears. I don't see, okay, I see a question from Diane and Mila. Hello there. I just missed you guys, apparently. The question is an aggregated exit survey statistics for particular to a region club distributed? So basically, are we sharing the exit, the survey? I think it's a great idea. We share it with the IBT, and so your region president would have it. Let me give that some thought, though, because it could be a way that we can do it. There's a lot of information in there that is confidential, because sometimes people who are leaving, we want their honesty, and they are very honest. And some of that stuff is probably not appropriate to be shared broadly, but I think the general themes are. So we'll work on that. Thank you.
Hey, Eric, can I jump in here for 1 second? One of the questions that came across just in the last few minutes about courtesy parking and Harvest Host is, once we make the transition to Harvest Host, our courtesy parking will sunset. We will no longer maintain that on our website. So we will make that transition, but that won't be until towards the end of the year.
Thanks, Floyd.
Thanks.
All right, Florence, I'm going to hand it over to you, and let me know if you want me to pull the slide down.
Thank you, Eric. We did send out something not too long ago to the entire membership, outlining what we are going to bring to you in June of this year. International doesn't come around very often and ask for a special membership, a special election from the membership. And we're doing that this year. We feel that really we've come to a place where the club has gotten big enough, the finances have gotten complex enough that we need to grow out of having a treasurer. And I don't mean to demean the term in any ways, but we thought that we needed to do the work to outline what would a financial director look like, and what are the ways that we would seek and seat that person. So that's, we need to come to our membership because that requires a change in the Constitution. Constitution describes the composition of our executive council, and we need to change that. And you're going to be a part of that. This whole thing started last fall. We formed, Eric asked for a special committee to be formed to look into this idea of defining and designing the position of finance director. And there were 5 of us on this committee. One of them, subcommittee, sorry, one of them is actually the interim treasurer that is now running things until we have selected which way we want to go. So we had some very bright minds who know way more about this than I do. Essentially, this change to your constitution is attempting to ensure that the person responsible for the finances of the club has a very extensive financial background. That was not always the case from our treasurer, who, by the way, was elected from the 9 people who were on the EC. There may not have been anyone on the EC that had a financial background, but still one of them had to be treasurer. So we're really making this a much more substantial process to vet out who this person would be, and of course what they would do. We're now looking for someone who can forecast, who can set monetary policy, who can consider some of the implications of our real estate holdings, like Eric just described, who can think about long-term strategies and really stability and growth are what we're trying to establish. So this amendment is coming to you in June. Here's the what I see as the heavy lift. I'm going to talk more about why we did this and how we're going to do it, but here's the heavy lift. We need 20% of our membership to show up and vote. And the vote is electronic. It is a paper ballot, request one, but really it means opening your email and taking maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. You're going to read the motion and you're going to vote for or against it. You know, Lori talked about our membership numbers. It is perhaps 9,500 big red numbers, but we're talking, we've got 17, 18,000 members. Every member of the 2, perhaps per household, gets a vote. So we need 20% of those members to open the email and vote. Of that 20%, we need 2/3, so about, I don't know, 2,500, 28 people to vote in the affirmative for it to pass. So that is what I see as really the challenge to our membership. The position as it is being defined itself, I think is mostly without controversy. This is unanimously supported by the Board of Trustees, and a lot of work has gone into this. Essentially, the composition of the voting on the Board of Trustees will not change. Same number of people have a vote. The finance director is an officer of the Executive Council. However, it is a non-voting position. And we felt that keeping that position unbiased and able to answer to us, to the IBT, strictly in terms of what is financially best in any given decision, that person should not be encumbered by having to think about, oh my gosh, how am I going to vote on this measure because it affects exactly what I'm doing in my job. So we thought keeping that position non-voting was critical. However, what we're doing also without term limits, I will say, that sounds very scary, but without term limits is not ad infinitum. That position will be vetted every 2 years on an alternating rotation of the IBT, so that new presidents have some time to, or region presidents have time to get to know this person and see how they work. Every 2 years, this person needs a confidence vote to remain in their position. And if for some reason the IBT is seeing that that person is just not meeting the needs of the club in running the finances, then we would restart the process of finding a new finance director. The really cool thing is that this finance director is coming from the membership. We are going to put out, well, not me, but the Leadership Recruitment and Oversight Committee, it's an existing standing committee, will put out an all call to all 17,000 of you or more to throw your hat in. There will be a very detailed job description. You will have a chance to, that person will have a chance to put in a statement of candidacy. We're going to do little videos, interviews, and I think long-term, this is really good for the club. And I will mention the voting is going to be the week of the 20th of June. It will go for a week. And yeah, this is pretty serious business. And I think that long-term, it's going to serve us all very well.
Okay, Florence, you got a couple of questions. I figured I'd let you answer them live. The first question is it a paid position, the finance director?
It is not a paid position. All the officers are volunteers. All the IBT members are volunteers. And the staff is the staff at headquarters that Lori oversees are the only paid personnel in ACI.
Thanks. Next question is, who will be the supervisor of the finance director?
Well, the immediate supervisor is the executive director and the president, but ultimately, those are on day-to-day. All the day-to-day workings of your club's finances is the executive director working closely with the finance director. And then ultimately, it's the IBT and the oversight that we will have to make sure if things are running smoothly.
Thanks. And as a reminder, as I said before, for about a year and a half now, the IBT has met 4 times a year, and the meetings are set up to be after the close of the prior fiscal quarter, financial quarter. And so the IBT each quarter spend time looking at the financial results of the club, where we stand relative to our budget and our goals, and that's presented by the finance director. So the region presidents are heavily involved now. Florence, one extra question. If this position is created, will there be an annual audit of the books by an outside firm?
Well, we already have infrastructure in place for that. We have a CPA firm that audits our books. So if anything, it's going to get more scrutiny. It's going to get more scrutiny because the person driving this ship, the finance director, is going to have such an in-depth background that I think we, as the IBT, we're going to see a lot more information. We need to be educated on how to understand this information. There are a lot of terms and things that those of us without financial background don't really know the importance of these things. So in addition to outside scrutiny, there's going to be a lot of internal scrutiny as well.
Thanks, Florence. Lori, maybe add on, how long has our club had a CPA? Because that's a misconception that we haven't had one, but it's been around for...
So, well, I'm trying to figure out how to say it because I know John Garmenhauser, which is the CPA, the lead CPA, he's I think 40 years.
40
So
years.
he's the lead, but I mean, there's different CPAs within his firm that we've worked with over the year. About every 3 or 4 years, they'll give us a new CPA. So
yeah, so I think, and this is the whole thing about financial literacy, right? Because even though our club has had a CPA reviewing our books every year for 40-ish years, I would argue that most people on the prior board and members never knew that, right? Because they did their work, the treasurer, who often wasn't financial, maybe would hand it over, but it wasn't done in a way that gets board engagement and discussion, that points out big issues. There was no real official management responses if you did audits before. And so we're trying to step this up to the visibility of the board, but we need someone who understands, sort of what a fiscal financial audit is on cash flows, on receivables, on expenditures, and blah, blah, blah. So great.
And
Well,
I will mention quickly, I saw that Sean Bloom posted a comment. Sean has recently joined, thank you, the Finance Committee, and herself has a very deep background in all of this. She is Region 12 president. There is a solid committee backing and working with the finance director. It's not this autonomous position that doesn't have to or get input from others. And we have a really solid finance committee backing the director of finances.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say too. There's what, 5 or 6 on that team now?
Yeah.
With there's so much depth of financial backgrounds and different financial backgrounds. I can't see it being nothing but positive for this club. It's amazing.
Yeah, just as I won't say names, but our current treasurer, finance treasurer, he's a past chief financial officer at Coca-Cola, which is pretty big, North America. Sean is a CPA, did a lot of work in the wine industry and with nonprofits and businesses. Another lady is out of the Northwest, a strong background on CPA. And our latest, Craig, out of Region 9, is an ex-executive at JP Chase Morgan. And we're working on sort of our banking structure and our ACH versus, credit card fees. So it's a very, very strong team now. I'm just so excited. All right. I think there's no more questions on this one. Oh, will there be a background check for the financial director candidate? Yes. Yeah. They're also under a confidentiality agreement as well. So,
yeah.
All right.
So just go vote. Just go vote. That's
Please.
all.
Yes. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Florence. We're going to flip it over to Ray Combs now. Let me just get that share up there. Give you a little background stuff there, Ray. All right, Ray, on to you.
Thanks, Eric. I want to piggyback on what you said about retention, Eric. We get somebody to a rally, they're pretty hooked, but I got to say, we get them on a caravan, they're double hooked. So we want to go that direction. If you haven't noticed, I'm pretty fired up about caravans. When Carol and I first heard about caravans, we found out who the leader was and called him and said, we want to go into your caravan. He said, what's your BRN? I had no idea what he was talking about. So the reason we're a member of WBCCI is because we want to go on a caravan. It's history ever since. I'd like to just mention briefly that this year, 24, we've already had 8 caravans that have been completed. Had some great response from the participants, particularly the Florida caravan, the other caravans, the Texas caravan. It's some great responses from those people who left their evaluations. Also want to mention that if you're interested in a caravan, you'd like to know a little bit more about it, of course, you go to the website, there's information there, but most every caravan has a Facebook page. So if you can figure that out, and if you know enough about Facebook, you can probably find out who they are and follow them along the way. It's a great way to learn about what's going on in those caravans. We've got some openings left in 2024. As a matter of fact, there was some caravan leaders asked me to mention that the Springtime in the Rockies has one left, unless they filled it. It leaves on the 23rd of May, so you need to be quick. Sipping Across Missouri's got a vacancy, as does the Mother Lode of the Mother Road. And I don't know why they come up with that name. I haven't been on that caravan, but it's basically Route 66. And I don't know why the Ketchums don't want to call it Route 66, but it is what it is. There have been great frustrations among the membership with our wait list system. The news is to those members who are frustrated is that your caravan leaders are probably twice as frustrated with the wait list system than you are, because it is a big headache for them. So we're working on a couple of ways to make the wait list system at least a little bit less stressful. We used to have the Viking Caravan every other year. It got a big long list. Pat Leggett ran it every other year, but now we've got other leaders running it in the off years. So now we're running Viking every year. So that should release the tension on that particular wait list. We're still working on the Alaska caravans. We used to just have one. Now we have one, or excuse me, one every other year. Now we have one every year. We're working on a new system on one of those caravans that Peter Schwartz is doing, which is very much like making reservations in a national park. You have to, if you don't get on it one year, you basically need to reapply for the next year. Going to be frustrating for some people, but it's going to make it a whole lot easier for caravan leaders to manage their wait list. Probably the biggest example is a year or so ago, the Alaska caravan with about a 3-year wait list had some last minute withdrawals, cancellations. So they sent out almost 100 emails to people on the wait list to see if they could fill that vacancy. Didn't fill a single one. We had to go light. So the wait lists are extremely frustrating for caravan leaders as well as for caravanners. Next year, we've got some exciting news, a couple of new caravans coming along, the Gulf Coast Crawl, which is the Gulf Coast. And what's exciting about that caravan, in addition to where it is, it's in January. Trent Roberts has put that one together. It's been a unit, a regional caravan for some years. He's now made it a national caravan. He was full in a month after he announced it. So if you want to go on that sometime in the future, go online and sign up. And by the way, when I first when Carol and I first started going on caravans, we had to make a phone call to a leader, find out who he was, and get on the list. And he would send us a letter. Back then, emails weren't all that popular. I don't want to put an age limit on my age, but nevertheless, it was pretty difficult to get on the caravan. Now, Laurie and the people at the head office have developed a system, which we're even going to make a little bit better, to make it easy to apply. You still can pick up the phone and call the leader, though, if you want to have some questions, particularly if you want to know if the caravan's full. Well, I'll be on a wait list. Give the caravan leader a call. Their number is in the ACI website having to do with caravans. And we've been working on that side a little bit. It's a little bit easier to get around. We kind of got our way. We worked in a way to fix our own problems on the website without having to go through people we probably should have gone through. But nevertheless, the website's gotten a lot easier. We are working on, and this is exciting. IPT has heard about this, I believe. We're working on a European caravan. Can you believe that? I'd like to say we're going to put your Airstreams on a big ship and we're going to take it to Europe, but we're not going to do that. Peter Schwartz is working on a caravan. He's scouted one. He took a group last year. He's working on putting together a trip of Airstreamers only to go to Europe. We would be renting what we would call Class Cs or Class Bs. I don't know what those classes are, and travel over Europe. And we had a lot of good reports back from that. We also have a little experimental team, not associated with WBCCI per se, but a group of Airstreamers are going back to Mexico next year to see if they can't find a way that we can reinstate those Mexico caravans that we ran at one time. So pretty excited about that. Kids on the Ridge. This developed from the Taste of the Blue Ridge, which helped create the Smidge of the Blue Ridge. And from that, we created the Kids on the Blue Ridge, which is going to be in 2025 in June. It's mainly for grandparents who want to take their kids on a short caravan. And it's a lot of fun. Going to be rafting the Nantahala, going to be riding horses, going to be riding a bicycle down the Virginia Creeper Trail. It's just a lot of stuff going on. So if you've got time to sign up for that, they have several vacancies left. So if you got a grandkid you want to take, or if you've got a grandkid that wants to go with you somewhere, give the leaders a call. They're on the ACI website. We're also working on a new payment system. This is kind of a secret. I just found about it. Amanda Hughes, and I don't think she's Amanda Hughes anymore. I think she's kind of like Lori. They got a name change coming in. No, that's not right. No, okay. All right. So I got some bum information. Nevertheless, she's worked up a way where we can avoid the big delay from the time you call the home office to give your credit card number to make a payment to the time the money actually arrives in the caravan kitty. That can be up to 10 days to 2 weeks, which is very frustrating for the caravan leader. But now we think we've got a system worked out that Amanda's done a great job, Lori, in putting that together for us. And we're going to have a beta trial on the Nuts to Ruts, or the Oregon Trail, coming up here pretty soon to see how that's going to work. I've shot my wad there, Mr. Chairman. What is it you want to know? Any questions? Let's go.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. I don't see any questions up there.
That means I did a really good job or a really bad job, either one.
So Ray, let me ask you a couple questions, because I get around a lot and people say, "Hey, look, I'm still working. I can't go on a 1 month caravan. What opportunities exist for shorter ones or regional based ones or things like that?" What would you say?
We've got, well, the Smidge was developed to be a short caravan, as is now the Kids. The short caravan being a caravan, it's 10 days. It encompasses 1 weekend and the week during that following weekend, and then the weekend after that. We do have some short caravans. I have some 2-week caravans. The Oars and Shores up the Michigan Peninsula, upper peninsula, is a short one, 2 weeks. So there are those out there. When you go to the ACI website, you see the dates, you see the start date and the end date. So that's a good way to find the shorter caravans, which there are some, and they're designed for people who are working, who can only take maybe a week or 2 weeks off.
Thanks, Ray. Florence got her hand up.
I do. We as the region presidents, this is something that we're talking a lot about in Region 10. We are out west, the Pacific Northwest, and we are just starting to. I have a couple already in the hopper. These are about 10 days, 3 stops, really approachable, and I think we're going to see more and more of that across all 12 regions.
We're working on that in Region 3 as well, which is the region I'm in. As a matter of fact, the Smidge on the Ridge was initially a unit caravan. So there are regions out there who are working on this, and any kind of help you might need, please let us know. Give me a call. There are a lot of things that you need to know. Caravans are not easy to lead. One of the reasons we have such long wait lists is we've got a lack of caravan leaders. We've got 22 dormant caravans. Caravans that are on the books, have been led before, that all the information exists, but we can't get leaders. They're just hard to find. It's a tough job.
Ray, do you want to talk a little bit about the training, though, how people could become a caravan leader and what happens, that process?
It's not difficult. First of all, we'd like you to have been on a caravan. Until you've been on one, it's hard to get a sense of what goes on in a caravan and how exciting they can be. Then we have a class. We do it 3 times a year. We do it twice via Zoom or now Teams, and we have a class at International. Once you take that class, everybody passes, so it's not difficult. But nevertheless, a lot of information is given out, a lot of help to a lot of leaders, and we're working on a caravan leader mentor system for some of the older caravan leaders who are no longer leading caravans, to be assigned to an individual new caravan leader, so that we can make the job a little bit easier. But that's basically what's necessary.
Okay, and there's a couple questions up there. First, I see just a comment. My buddy Dindy Jarrett. Hey, Dindy. So, Dindy, apparently you're co-host on the Smidge of the Blue Ridge for 2025. Excellent.
Yeah.
Step it up. Robert Weaver has a questions about caravans. Says, do you move sites every day, or what is the frequency of moving sites?
It depends. Well, first, we don't move every day. It depends upon the situation, depends on the particular place you are, how many things there are to see. Some caravans will spend 4 nights at one place, some 3 nights, some 2 nights. Some have been known to stay 5 nights if you happen to be in a very exciting place. My wife and I and the Andersons we're recreating the southeastern United States, from St. Augustine up to Chincoteague. We're going to spend 4 nights in Williamsburg because there's so much to see in Williamsburg. Some of the other stops we'll only spend 2 nights, but just a great places to be, but there's not that much variety in what to see. So very seldom. I've never heard of one staying in only 1 night.
Okay, more questions are rolling in. You're doing a good job, man. So Mike asked, he's interested in a snowbird opportunities in the future for caravans.
Snowbird. Now that could mean several things. Does that mean someone coming from Canada to the south in the wintertime? Or does that somebody who wants to go north to be in the snow?
Let's
Um,
assume it's heading south toward warm weather. Let's assume that.
Well, it's kind of funny. We don't have a caravan that brings people from the north to the south, but we do have a caravan that's taking those who have been in Florida back north. And that's the Southeastern Coastal Crawl Caravan, which starts in St. Augustine, as I mentioned, and goes up the Virginia coast to the Chincoteague. We've got 5 or 6 people on that caravan who are using it as their trip home, back to either the Northeast or even to Canada.
Well, it sounds like there's interest on helping the migration south. So put that in
Well,
your.
whoever asked that question needs to get it on the list of those who might want to be caravan leaders. So let me know who that guy is. We'll recruit him.
We got it.
That's a great idea, though. Great idea.
It's a great idea. By the way, there's a lot of little mini caravans going to places. Like there's one going to the International Rally. I know the Greater Los Angeles Club is got a little mini caravan up to Indiana for the Indy 500. We'll meet them up there, by the way, and some other ones too. So let me just jump to Diane asks, are caravan sites limited to boondocking?
Oh, no. Well, there are boondocking sites. You know, we're getting older and we all start out in tents. And as we aged, we began to get into trailers and finally into the Airstreams. And now we're saying, man, I don't want a boondock. I want to hook up. I want the comforts of home. So as a matter of fact, I think very few sites on today's caravans, unlike Wally's caravans, that very few have even just a few days of boondocking. Some have more than others. But caravan leaders learned a long time ago that our people would really like to have electricity and sewer and water.
I hear you on that one. Okay, Dee asked, where can we find a list of the dormant caravans? Do we have that?
I can send you. I've sent one to IBT or to the executive council in the semi-annual report.
Okay.
Anybody who wants one, email me and I will send it to them. And of course, now, when you talk to me about that puts you on my bench for being a leader. So just to understand that we just don't let anybody off the hook. Again, as I got 2 prospective leaders just from these questions.
Okay, so Christy or Lori, can you make a note? We'll get that information to Dee. It's also on our board packet. You're right, Ray. The timing is great because your caravan report is on our May 23rd board packet, but we'll get that information to Dee directly. And by the way, Dee is ready to lead! Exclamation mark. So
Oh, really?
Awesome. So
Uh-huh.
Dee, can you provide your big red number or a little more information so we can connect you? Or you can just send an email to info@airstreamclub.org and we'll get everybody connected.
or me, we'll get it. Okay.
Oh, we got it. 7022. She's ready. All right, Dee. You are on the
7022.
hook.
So by the way,
On the
Dee
hook.
has a plant in the audience, Ray. So we got her up. There's a couple comments about Sherry. Sherry, hi, Raleigh. I assume that's the one I know. Yes, CMAC, right. Said there are 4 openings on Southeast Michigan's local caravans between the lakes in August of this year. So that's good. Barb Darian mentions, who is our international membership chair, that the Southwest Caravan had some incredible boondocking. So I guess they had some also.
They probably have the most.
Probably the most, right? Okay. So John Stetler mentioned something, and I'll just touch on. So back in the 1960s, it was 63 to 64, I think. In fact, in the current issue of the Blue Beret, there's a good article about the 63 to 64 around the world caravan. It's pretty amazing, by the way. So Joe Poplinski, our club historian, and others from the Vintage Airstream Club are hosting a reenactment of that caravan, that historic, and it is a historic caravan. It's going from Elkhart, Indiana, down to Jackson Center in about a month from now. It's really, really exciting. And the other cool thing about it is that at the end of the rally in Jackson Center, we're having an extra rally to celebrate and recognize Helen Schwamborg, Dale Peavy's mom, who was a founder of our club, working with Wally Byam. And so Airstream Inc. is being involved into, so it's a really cool thing looking back at our roots Laverne and I are fortunate to be able to tag along on that one. So really, really excited. So thanks, John. Thanks, well, everyone, Steve Blackmer, all you guys working on it, Joe Poplinski, the Gullies, everyone. And there's gonna be some historic trailers and maybe some historic trucks showing up also. I'm not sure. Thanks, John. All right, I don't see any other questions, and it is 5:01. So what we do, first of all, I respect your time, so we're gonna end now. But if any of y'all want to stay online, ask questions, we'll be online for another 10, 15 minutes until the questions die down. So thank you, Ray. Thank you, Florence. Lori, it's your job, but thank you anyway. And Christy. And again, this will be repeated in a few hours also for West Coast time zones. Thank you all. And I hope you guys get a sense that, number one, we want you all to know what's going on, but probably more importantly, we want to hear back from you. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your suggestions. And we want to hear your complaints too, by the way. We really do. So thank you for your ideas and have a good evening. And we'll just hang here for a bit.
I love the fact. So Ray, so normally we have a lot of caravan questions. This is first time we have you with us, and we haven't seen that many tonight. It's kind of funny.
Oh, so there's a question. Oh, David asked about your name. What happened with Tilton? It could be a bad or a good thing. So I appreciate David asking the question on live.
Well, David, thanks for asking, but I did get married. We got married in March. Was it March already? Yeah, so almost 2 months. Yay. So I got married. So that's why you're seeing the name change. Oh.
There's an interesting idea. Oh, Susan, hi, service. Idea CoachNet is a benefit.
Actually, we're working on that, Susan. And I
Good.
believe, Christy, if you, I believe they will be an international.
Yeah.
Maybe. Where'd Christy go?
He's coming back.
To be determined. We're not quite
All right.
down far enough to say that that's going to happen, but yeah, infancy stages on partnering with CoachNet.
Yep, working on it.
Definitely a
sure.
popular member suggestion. Heard it a lot.
Yeah, keep the ideas coming about possible suggestions. I'm still trying to get Yeti, but you know, I don't know. We've got enough coolers, I suppose, and cups. All right, I think we're any more questions on here.
How many people joined tonight? I think at our hike we had 130 is what I saw, 134 maybe.
Yeah. Okay, Julian asks about when will we get a financial update? Yes. So we do it once a quarter, right? And 14 days before. So we've locked down these timeframes. We always post something to the members 14 days before an International Board of Trustee meeting. So it's the 23rd. So it should be up there on the 9th.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep. It's always posted 2 weeks before. And actually, if you go to airstreamclub.org/IBT, that's where all of the even previous meetings and all of that, the minutes, all the financial reports, all that stuff is there for our members to have access to.
And also just a bit of a plug here is that, again, I always talk about the business and the fund side. We're really working on our processes. So the board, the IBT gets it about 2 weeks ahead of even that. So they've had it for about a week and a half or 2 weeks now to start looking through all the financial information so that they're prepared to ask questions and dig in and stuff. So we try to give our voting members, our board, really early access to dig through it. And then of course, we share it with the members 14 days ahead of time. And we allow the members and we encourage the members to comment. And we get back to, I think, pretty much every comment either in the meeting or ahead of time. So yeah, Julian, take a look at it. If you have any questions, just bang us back right away. And it may be that Alan answers or one of the finance committee answers, but really appreciate it. Thank you.
So I see a question about KOA discounts. Currently, it's still only new members to KOA are getting the discounts. We're still working with them trying to get something else for existing members. Because when someone joins that a current member visits them. So John asking about when somebody joins, yes, actually Barb Darian and her great committee of outreach folks, they're reaching out to new members. They get a great email and then we do some follow-up trying to make sure we can get them connected and to an event. That is our priority. And yes, Tilton is my husband's last name. Jim 5. I saw that comment. I see you.
Alrighty, y'all. I think I'm gonna call it on this one. So we'll surely see you, Ray and Florence, in about 2 hours, I suppose. I guess it is. Lori, set your alarm clock. I know it's late out there. And thank you all for attending. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right, we'll see you after a bit.